When it comes to spending large amounts of money in the transfer market, Chelsea Football Club are certainly no strangers. The London club are known for splashing the cash on individual players with ranging levels of success. Romelu Lukaku joined Chelsea from Inter Milan for €113 million and flopped heavily. Enzo Fernandez left Benfica for €121 million and has arguably been one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. Kepa joined back in 2018 for €80 million, a ridiculous fee then and now for a keeper of his abilities. When you take a look at Chelsea's transfer history over the years, it tends to be the players in the 30 to 50 million ballpark that perform the best and succeed in the demanding environment that is the Premier League. I'm talking about players like Antonio Rudiger, who joined Chelsea for 35 million, N'Golo Kante for 36, Diego Costa for 38, Cesc Fabregas for 33, Eden Hazard for 35, and of course, King Didier Drogba for 38.5 million. If reports are to be believed, Chelsea's latest signing, Nicolas Jackson, would fall into this transfer fee sweet spot at around €35 million. But who is Nicolas Jackson? Well, let's find out. Jackson was born on the 20th of June 2001 to parents David and Lynette Jackson in the Gambia, although the African striker would go on to play for Senegal during international competitions such as the African Cup of Nations. He began his footballing journey at ASC Telen, his local side, before switching allegiances to Casa Sports in 2018, a top division side in the Senegalese league. It took just one season at Casa Sports before European clubs came calling. However, it would be Villarreal who would win the race to sign the promising striker in September of 2019, when Jackson was just 18 years old. He would spend a year playing in the academy, honing his craft before going on loan to Mirandes, a Segunda Division side, in the hopes of finding more regular playing time and therefore developing as a player overall. Although Jackson didn't set the world alight at Mirandes, scoring just one goal in 16 appearances for the Spanish side, it would be at Villarreal where he would show his true qualities to the world. In his first full season for the Yellow Submarines, he was used mainly as a late-game substitute, making a total of 9 appearances off the bench, scoring 0 whilst assisting the same amount for his team. However, the 2022-23 season was his breakout year, as Jackson went on to score 12 goals in 26 league appearances, whilst providing 4 assists for his team, who finished 5th, achieving European football for the 23-24 campaign. Jackson enjoyed an incredible run of form between April the 27th and the 4th of June, scoring 9 goals, including a brace against Cadiz, Club Athletic and Celta Vigo. This run of form resulted in the striker winning the May Player of the Month award in La Liga, an incredible achievement for the then 21-year-old in his first proper season in the top flight of football. In terms of injuries, the Senegalese striker hasn't really faced any major problems in this regard, with his longest stint off the field occurring this season as a hip problem kept him away from the starting lineup for nearly 2 months. This injury also caused a potential move to Bournemouth to fall through, as the striker would fail his medical. According to an article titled, "Why do Real Madrid struggle against low blocks?" the Spanish league is, quote, a breeding ground for teams that field a low block, with Cadiz and Elche named as prime suspects for implementing this system. As mentioned earlier, Jackson scored a brace against Cadiz this season, taking advantage of a lapse in concentration by the defenders. A large majority of the sides Chelsea face do implement a low block system and try to attack the London club on the break. This has been a prevalent issue this season, as many of our attackers have failed to break through the defensive shapes of our opponents, leading to low scoring draws or losses at the hand of counter-attacking football. From what I've seen of Nicolas Jackson, the majority of his goals this season have come from counter-attacks, catching the opponent as their defensive structure is disturbed. This is a rare circumstance for Chelsea, as the London club tend to hold more possession and therefore counter-attacking opportunities come few and far between. This could present itself an issue for Nicolas Jackson. Jackson stands at 6'1" and is a natural finisher. One of his biggest strengths is his, strength. When receiving the ball in the midfield at the start of an attack, Jackson is more than capable of holding off a player whilst using his acceleration to get away from the press and drive towards goal. This burst of pace is a highly useful tool, and it allows the striker to create chances for himself and win fouls from defenders as they mistime their tackles. Villarreal set up in a 4-2-3-1, following the status quo of La Liga and implementing a low block to catch teams on the counter. Jackson, of course, starts up top as the striker, with Chukwueze Baena and Pino behind and around him. A lot of the times when Villarreal are attacking through the middle, Jackson is accompanied by one of these players to both spread the defence and also provide a passing option if Jackson determines his teammate to be in a better goal-scoring position. At Chelsea, he'll be surrounded by players like Christopher Nkunku, Mykhailo Mudryk, Raheem Sterling and Noni Madueke, who are all capable of fulfilling this role, as all mentioned are full of pace, although Pochettino isn't exactly a counter-attacking manager. When you look at Nicolas Jackson's underlying metrics, you would assume he is a fairly well-rounded striker. He ranks highly for non-penalty goals compared to other forwards, as well as assists, expected assists, progressive carries and, surprisingly, blocks. Standing at 6'1", one would expect the Senegalese striker would win aerial duels more than most. However, this is not the case, as in the 22-23 La Liga season, Jackson won just 30% of his aerial duels, and out of his 12 league goals, none of them came as a result of a header. Chelsea are a side that likes to use their width. Ben Chilwell and Reece James like to move up the field, making overlapping runs before whipping a ball into the box. It would certainly be beneficial to the squad if the target man was prolific at winning aerial duels in order to create another pathway to scoring and winning games. What Mauricio Pochettino mainly wants from his strikers is someone who can provide a lot more to the team other than just being an elite goal scorer. This statement is best supported by the way in which Harry Kane was deployed under Poch whilst the Argentinian coach works at Spurs. Under Pochettino, Harry Kane would drop into deeper areas of the field, dragging defenders out of position, disrupting the shape entirely. Fast players would then make attacking runs into the pockets of space created by Kane dropping deep, before the English striker would implement his passing ability and play a ball over the top to be received by said attacker. Although Nicolas Jackson can drop deeper and start his attacks from a similar position, his forward passing output could be higher, sitting at 2.25 progressive passes per game. I think it's important to compare Jackson to what we already have in order to determine whether he would be an upgrade or simply another option. Therefore, I'll be taking a look at Broja's and Datro Fofana's metrics to see how they shape up. Before I start, I would like to mention I'll be using Jackson's 22-23 La Liga stats, Fofana's 2022 campaign in the Eliteserien, and Broja's 21-22 loan spell at Southampton. My reasoning for doing this is, in my opinion, it provides a fair outlook on the three strikers playing at the peak of their abilities, so to speak. Broja and Fofana have both barely played this season, and so to compare them to Jackson, who's had a relatively full season missing just 10 games, would be unfair. Although Broja played 6 more games than Jackson, they both recorded an average of 62 minutes of playing time per game. In that time, Broja provided 6 goals from an XG of 2.36 and no assists from 0.23 expected assists. On the other hand, Jackson scored 12 from an XG of 8.03 and recorded 4 assists at 2.03 expected assists. Jackson also created 7 big chances for a Spanish side, whilst Broja only created 2. In terms of aerial duels, Jackson wins 0.5 a game or 30% of his aerial duels, whereas Broja wins 2.8 per game or 35% of his aerial duels. So in terms of attacking output, Jackson is more prolific than Broja, scoring more, assisting more. However, Broja is more adept at winning headers against tougher opposition. Now, when you compare Jackson to Fofana, Fofana beats the Senegalese striker on goals, scoring 15 from 24 appearances and assisting 3 times. Fofana created 8 big chances to Jackson's 7. Jackson and Fofana are equal in terms of aerial duels won, although they are not so equal in terms of level of opponent. Questions can rightly be asked as to whether or not David Datro Fofana could replicate these numbers playing in a top-flight league. And in the short moments in which Fofana was able to play for Chelsea, there wasn't much to suggest that Ivorian co-striker could replicate this form at the level he is at now. I believe if we were to sign Nicolas Jackson, it would be wise to loan Fofana and keep both Broja and Jackson as backups for the main number 9, whether that be Victor Osimhen, Dusan Vlahovic or Randal Kolo Muani. It is wise to always have 3 strikers available, as injuries are commonplace amongst the number 9 position, considering the strikers often put themselves into dangerous areas and or overstretch in the attempt of scoring an important goal for their respective teams. Broja recently signed a new long-term deal which has the Albanian striker on £40,000 a week, a respected sum for a backup striker. Questions can be asked regarding his consistency. Jackson, as mentioned earlier, enjoyed a highly successful month of form, scoring 9 out of his 12 goals in the span of a few weeks. Prior to this, Jackson was enduring a rather average season, even below average by some standards. This begs the question, is Jackson a purple patch player or is he the real deal? So, to wrap it up, does Nicolas Jackson fit into a Pochettino side? Well, Yes and no. Where Nicolas Jackson has thrived in his career, it's been in a system which promotes catching your opponents disjointed on the counter-attack. Pochettino will look to build up slowly and intelligently at Chelsea, and it remains to be seen as to whether Nicolas Jackson is ready to be as on the ball and called up upon as he would be under Pochettino. Not everyone can do it. It takes a rare breed to succeed in the Pochettino side. For €35 million, Nicolas Jackson, in my opinion, would be a solid buy as long as it doesn't stand in the way for a move for a player like Osimhen, who will not come cheap. I don't believe Jackson is being looked at as a starting number 9 next season. Again, he is a highly competent backup alongside Broja. His price, as mentioned, is also attractive. Jackson, who turned 22, to get him on a long contract with low wages, he currently earns €10,000 per week. He could be sold in the future for upwards of €50 to €60 million, as long as we play our cards right, making him not just a useful asset on the pitch, but also a smart investment for the future. So, that's about it. Let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on Nicolas Jackson. Do you think he'll be the starting striker for next season or a backup like Broja? Do you think we should sign him at all? Who else would you like me to provide an in-depth deep dive into? If you haven't already, please hit the like button. It's a small gesture from you that means the world to me. And if you're not subscribed, why not join this incredible community and subscribe to The Quick Take? We're so close to reaching my goal of 10,000 subscribers by the end of June. I've been The Quick Take, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you later.